All right, so it's weird. I've been doing internet knife cringe since about 2016, and not once have I ever done a collection overview. Laying them out, pointing to them, explaining why they're special, gushing over them like I've never felt the warm touch of a human ever. I have so many knives now, I'll have to break this into two parts. Not this video, I probably should have broken this into two parts. But the first part, or this video, being the overview of my fixed blade collection. Then part 2 will be my pocket knife collection and may come in 2 months or 2 years the way things are going. And I hate to say this, but it's easier for me to do the fixed blade part because my fixed blade collection is kind of as big as it's ever going to get. I'm done buying any new ones because I'm pretty happy with the ones that currently collect dust. Now for all the thieves, I have an old gun chest. Most of it fits nicely in. Just pile on top of one another in the garage. Let's think of it like an adult toy chest.
This one's for my knives, this one's for my rubber wieners.
Now, as you know, the patrons have upgraded me to 4K with my Panasonic GH5S and my 4K iMac. Some people like to know what I edit and shoot with. Say hi, patrons. However, I shot a lot of this a while back, so we're going to have to use some gross, iPhone 12, iPhone 11 footage, archival footage, everything mixed in. Maybe we'll throw some new shots in here for stuff I don't have shots of. Now, my fixed blade collection consists of just regular old fixed blades like my, Cold Steel SRK, and my choppers, and my machetes, and the kukris, anything with a fixed blade that doesn't move. We'll do my top 10 first, then sort the rest. Now first, we're going to deal with the top 10. We'll dive right into it. For each number, I'll give you the main knife, maybe some alternates in the collection that fit the spirit, so it's just not a boring top 10. Speaking of boring, how about the Vangidal Rover, which runs about 40 to 60 bucks. I did a video on this years ago at the suggestion of a viewer who let me borrow some nicer knives in my early video days, and I still haven't learned how to pronounce it properly. Now it sports a stainless steel blade. I think I talk about the blade steel in that video that has decent edge retention. Seems to be fairly resistant to rust as long as you remove your standing fluids after use. I would call it a scout knife, but that might be confusing because Vangdal also makes a scout knife. It is no frills with its sharp-looking wood handle, a flat grind, a keen edge, and a nice locking sheath made from a high-quality natural finish leather. A camp knife for food prep, or maybe even some light batoning if you need it and no one's looking, because you kind of need to do it. It's not just me that feels that way. Is that a me thing? Do I have a problem? A viewer once said it would look like a steak knife, as in an insult type way, that it looks kind of boring, but steak knives are very useful and steak is delicious, so I'm gonna reclaim that. Now you have to order this from overseas, and I think I got mine at the Good Stuff shop, but my memory's pretty bad, my short term and my long term. Link is below the video, as is my old but short video of it that I mentioned earlier in this segment. The alternate would be the, Moore knife cans bowl in stainless with the polymer handle and sheath. Polymer is a fancy word for plastic. It's two-tone plastic though. The cans bowl is a little larger than the Moore companion, which is probably their most popular knife. And in case you don't know, people tweak when you don't have the Moore or the Victorinox in your videos. Trust me, there's a guy that's been trolling my videos for years on all my slip joints, and there's like this very pro Victorinox and anti everything else. And he just brings it up all the time, and I had to hide him on the channel. So if you're watching, I take 3 to 5 years of that abuse where you talk shit about me and you love Victorinox knives, and then I'm gonna hide your comments, okay? Now, for me, a general purpose camp knife might have a 4 to 5 inch blade. Maybe for you, I like the bigger ones, but whatever. Think of a chef's knife size because you want to cut through larger vegetables or meat if necessary, and also do some wood stuff on the side. So why screw with a 3-inch blade or less? I think even under a 4 is kind of small for a camp knife. Now the Cans Bowl is a little thinner blade stock than the Rover, so not as batoning friendly. You can do it like I did, but perhaps let's just go with some feather sticks, my brother in bushcraft. Okay, what's the most annoying subgenre of a knife guy? Is it the bushcraft guy? Or is it the extreme tactical guy? I don't know. Or is it me, the smartass? Now number 9, the K-bar. When people say K-bar, I got my K-bar, they mean this knife, okay? This is what a K-bar is. All the other knives they make are not important. Okay, this is actually the dog's head. More specifically, they probably mean the USMC because it's issued, a standard issue. But they're basically the same knife with a few differences. The commonality between the dog's head and the USMC is a clip point Bowie style blade. You got your cross guards, although there's a difference in the cross guards, and a handle that's bulbous in the middle. Sometimes the bulbous handle is made out of different stuff. Now, there are variations. You can get it shorter in the 5-inch short fighting knife or go for the 9-inch big brother. You know, now that I'm reading that, sounds kind of creepy. Here, the dog's head utility comes with a slightly different pommel and crossguard, or is it pummel, than the standard USMC. And generally speaking, though, these style K-bars have a 1095 coated carbon steel because 1095 is rust prone if you don't lube and wipe regularly. It's also life advice, right? Now, I paid $63 for mine in 2018, but now they range from about $80 to $90. Now, if you don't like stack leather, you can opt for the Kraton handle, which is a synthetic rubberized grip with, there's a little bit of give to it. It's not squeezy rubber. Leather could be described as a touch slicker and less resistant to the elements. You would have to treat leather regularly. But overall, I do prefer the stack leather handle. I can always put a little bit of goo on it if I need to give it its water resistance back. Make it look a little nicer. Now, if you like this style knife, there are a few Ontario versions of the same look. Carbon steel, cheaper prices, they may have a different handle. For example, the $32 SP1, also a 7-incher like the K-bar, it's about the same size, but with the Kraton rubberized handle and 1075 carbon steel, and I believe this is full tang. Now, 1075 has a slightly less carbon than 1095, which to you, practically speaking, means you have to sharpen the Ontario a little more than the K-bar. I think the 75 and the 95 are the keys there. The 75 refers to the carbon and the steel. Now, there's a $42 Ontario model 499 pilot's knife in 1095 carbon steel. Now, this one with a little rougher blade coating and kind of an unfinished stacked leather handle. Got to put some goo on this one. And then there's the sheath that scratches the blade coating because of the internal rivets for the sharpening stone. Those are on the inside of the sheath, and the knife just scrapes in and out as you pull it. So instant wear. Or maybe you're violent. Maybe you spend a lot of time in the trenches, but you have the made for stabbing fellows. Currently unavailable Mark III trench knife. Is this an Ontario or a K-bar? I'll fix this in post and definitively say it's a Ontario. It's more of a bayonet because of its sharpened, swedged, and narrow blades profile. It is unavailable, but when it is, you pay about $80 for it. Generally speaking, K-bars, in my experience, have better finishing to the leather handles, a smoother blade coating, and have better fit and finish when compared to a lot of the Ontarios. Many of the Ontarios, especially the ones that are attached to a government contract, are tool grade. And the K-bars are a little more retail grade, and you kind of see that reflected in the price. Generally speaking, I say generally speaking a lot, I think. I've read that word a lot as I read this. With the exception of the full tang Ontario SP1, these have thinner stick tangs prone to bending if you do dumb shit with them like I do sometimes. Of course, I do that for a video. And in real life, I cut out some of the dumb shit. Sorry to say that. Now, bashing them through logs, prying with them are generally not the best tasks, but I'm not going to tell you what to do with your fucking knife. Light bushcraft, food prep, or cutting stuff is good, and while a 7-inch blade might sound a little large for cutting up your camp dinner, sounds like you're a little closed-minded. Also, no one's going to say shit to the chef about the meal if they're cutting their food with a 7-inch K-bar, just as a rule of thumb. Number 8, these are my top 10, but the ranking is fairly arbitrary depending on my mood, which fluctuates. The Ontario 18-inch machete. Now, you can tell it's a government contract grade machete due to its uneven, fine sandpaperish coating and its basic as shit black plastic handle. Do they even have the nerve to call this a polymer handle, or is it just called plastic? I think they just call it plastic in product descriptions. You want micarta? You want stabilized wood? G10? Well, eat shit. This is a machete and it chops asshole. And it chops asshole. Should have been a comma in there. It's 1095 carbon steel and comes usually sharp enough to chop. These will set you back about $20 to $30, That price generally, if it comes with the sheath, it reflects the higher price if it comes with the sheath. So make sure you're getting a sheath with it. And if you don't, you can still buy it separately. All these government contract issued ones are still made in the USA as far as I can tell. Now for an alternative, there's the Marbles machete in orange. That's not the steel, that's just the coating. I think it's 1095, 1075, who cares? With the wooden and wire wrapped handle, you can know exactly what steel it is by watching the full video I have on this one. As carbon steel comes with the sheath, costs about $30. I wouldn't call it ultra thin, but thin enough to flex while also chopping wood. I've split logs with these, just very small logs. Number 7, the Great Eastern Cutlery. You knew this one would come up because of my GEC brain rot, right? This here is a H40, and they haven't made these in a few years now. It's light, and it seems smaller in the hand than the specs say it is. Like, you're like, oh, a 4-inch blade is going to be... Yeah, it's not a 4-inch Esee, it's a 4-inch GEC. Some of the people on the channel would know what I'm talking about. Now, I believe I bought this at Traditional Pocket Knives, one of my favorite stores for buying traditional pocket knives. Paid about $100 for it, and it was in stock for several hours at the time. I didn't have to fight for it. Now, if you're looking for about as traditional and well-made as you can get in a fixed blade, these are it. Like your grandfather, who bought his expensive tools to look at rather than use, this one also has a pin handle, no frills neutral grip, and crossguard with a blade in GEC's 1095 carbon steel. Probably somebody else supplies a carbon steel, but that's what GEC uses. Now, it's a pretty good knife. Throughout the years, it has come in a lot of different handle materials. This one being the Cocobolo, and they even make them smaller too, the H20, the H30. Is there an H10? I don't remember. However, I think sub 4-inch fixed blades are mostly something that could be done with a folding knife, you know, to save a little bit of space in your pack, your pocket, your belt, or that hidden cavity area. Now, the sheath here is also very nice. You can just take a little look at that. That's pretty pretty. Now, this light under 4-ounce knife ain't got nothing on the hand-ground Svord Von Tempsky Ranger. Now, Svord makes a bigger version of this. I think it's just called the Svord Von Tempsky. Now, these are similar in style, but the Svord is a thick piece of steel. You hear the that means it's thick. But in the same traditional Bowie style of the GEC, my S's whistle a little, it made out of a Swedish L6 carbon steel. Now, there's a bit of crudeness to the grind here and a finish that is, you know, fit and finish GEC is a lot nicer, but, you know, whatever. Saying it's so thick, it's nearly unbreakable. I'm sure there's an idiot out there that could do it, though. Now, I have a video on this Svord, but not the GEC, so you can watch at least one of those for more details. Number 6, the Esee Junglasses. Junglasses? Should I correct myself now? I'm just Junglasses. The original and the smaller sequel, the Junglass 2, the Junglass 2. Now, it's a rarity in this tactical, outdoorsy age that we're living in where people are less tactical, even the ones that appear they are, than they ever have been. Now, Esee has a lifetime anything goes warranty, which is great for idiots like us. Sure, everyone sells you that tactical adventure lifestyle. They make their 10-inch knives for when the going gets tough. Now, if you read the fine print on their combat Bowie or their apocalyptic axe is warranty, then it is, of course, avoided by misuse. That's just how it is. And to be fair, there's nothing more American than when someone is selling you a lifestyle that they can't back up. As Americans, we kind of like being lied to. Now, will we be indignant when we learn it's a lie and get mad about it? Or are we going to dig in and pretend we believe it because it's going to make us look like an idiot? It's hard to say. Now, for sizes, these are both big-ass knives. An 8-inch blade on the Junglass 2 and a 10-incher on the original, both 1095 carbon steel. Now, if you remember, I broke my Esee Junglass 2. I have the one here, which was a gift from someone to the channel who carried his in Afghanistan, which is pretty cool. And so my 2, I broke it, and they sent me a new one. Now, the blade fractured and lost a big chunk. Now, I'd chalk that up to a bad piece of steel and not anything I did, and it is an exception rather than a rule. Now, the failure was unusual and catastrophic and probably would have happened anyway to this particular blade. And a warranty should cover that. Snapping off a tip here, probably not because you were prying with it. But large chunks of blade or breaking in half is something warranties should cover. Now, your knife steel probably shouldn't break when being hit with or hit into plant-based material. That's just my rule of thumb. Now, often the other knife brought up in the same breath as these is the Ka-Bar Becker BK9. Now, this one specifically has a limited warranty where batoning is not covered. So try not to misuse your 9-inch combat Bowie, okay? And okay, don't tell anybody, but what if I told you that Ka-Bar had a batoning video on their official YouTube channel with one of the Beckers? Just don't tell anybody that they have that there, because you can't do that to you, the knife you bought from them, but they can do it. And honestly, you know, as far as the virtues we hold as Americans, do as I say and not as I do, right? That's a big one. I can have mine, but you can't have yours. Now, there's absolutely nothing wrong with Ka-Bars. I love them, and their warranty is in line with just about everyone else. Do as I say, not as I do. I prefer the micarta scales on them, on the Junglasses, And the Esee comes standard with micarta. Becker, BK9, those are extra $40 if you want the micarta. So the BK9 sets you back about 140, and if you get the 40 for, you know, the scales, then you're about 180. And the Hunglas 2 starts at about 180, full size about 200, all depending on where you buy it. Remember, Esee's got the better warranty, so I don't know, depends on how often you break knives, right? Splurge a little. Now the Cold Steel SRK. This cheapie runs you about $30 to $40 if you want to get it in the base steel, which is, they have it in a higher end steel, but this is the carbon coated SK5. I went cheap. And its warranty doesn't cover the dumb shit though, but a dumb shit could just buy another, to be honest, right? Now this is about a 6-inch blade here. Breaking part, small wood, light chopping, I guess, and food prep also works for a knife this size. However, I kind of prefer a larger knife or a machete for breaking apart wood, which I often do at campsites when I start a fire. I don't build shelters and not much of a hunter anymore, but I have found I prefer breaking apart wood with large knives to that of a hatchet. Now, if you want your fancier alternative to the survival rescue knife, I think that's what SRK stands for, you can always go for the convex ground S1 from Falkeniven. Now, these are closer to 200, and convex grind means it's ground more like the edge of a hatchet than a kitchen knife with a V grind. Now, you can sharpen this knife like any other knife, or you can spend hours of your fleeting life watching freehand convex sharpening videos on YouTube, only to make your knife duller when you actually try it. Godspeed. Okay, 5.5, or would this be 4.5? Anyway, I really fucked this up and I forgot to include the Trailmaster Bowie in my first go around, so I'm having to go back and make the list perfect now. Now, like normal men, before I drift off to my all-night proof video, I often pray to our Lord and thank Him for all the ways the Trailmaster is perfect. From what I assume to be its solid gold crossguard and its 9 elegant inches of satin-finished 01. A generous angel paid aftermarket prices for this beauty to gift to the channel, and I pray he is blessed with fresh pig carcasses and meat in his boots every morning for the rest of his days. Now, if you think the Trailmaster is excessive or ugly, then we ain't friends. Now, this one here, the Trailmaster, has a full tang versus the stick or the rat tail tang of the Machetes Bowie I reviewed years ago. Now, what's really the difference between a rat tail tang and a stick tang? I don't know, but since it's a cold steel, I'm more inclined to call it a rat tail. Now, number 4 is the Aranyik cane machete and the extended Latin machete. And now, if you're wanting small, useful knives from here on out on the list, you're going to be disappointed. However, if you have yard work, a little bit of acreage, or live in the fucking jungle, these are large and useful blades. Now, Aranyik closed their shop up for a long time, right in the middle of me making these original 2 videos. I believe they were made in Thailand at the time, and now they've reopened and are based out of Hawaii. Now, it's unclear if the new ones are made in Hawaii or they're still made in Thailand, or if he was in Thailand at the time and he imported them from Hawaii. I don't know. I don't know where they're made and where they're finished, but they probably ship from Hawaii. Now, I'm pretty sure it's the same dude, though. His name is Miles, and if you'd like to know more about his personal life, where he spends his time, where they're made, where they're shipped to, his favorite color, his business model, shoot him a nice email. I'm sure he'll enjoy all the personal questions. Now, the cane machete in its basic pattern has a blade shape reminiscent of what you would find when you search for Thai machetes. They're thick, like kukris, and not bendable, like most people associate with your standard machete. Can't wop, 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 wop in your hand, you know, and wobble them. So they're almost like hybrids between thin machetes and hatchets, or swords, lawn swords. You know, if you're lobbing branches, cutting down bamboo, cutting saplings, these are great. I prefer the cane machete to the extended Latin machete. I believe Aranyik now makes the cane machete in an extended size. Unfortunately, their website is a little sparse, so you can't see how big that actually is, but you can email them for the pictures of the currently only 4-bladed instruments that they offer. Their inventory is smaller and I guess more streamlined now. Now, these were about $40 to $60 shipped for me way back when without sheaths. Now, I would assume now, since they include the sheath and the blade, they're probably in the low hundreds to 200s. I mean, they're honestly worth that because they're pretty nice. They're a little rough, but they're nice. You know, they're sharp, and they're probably made out of a leaf spring style steel. Now, the extended Latin machete distributes the weight along the longer edge, so I find the balance better and chopping power nicer on the cane machete, since it's a little thicker and it's a little more compact. For a longer machete, I prefer a thinner steel, like say Ontario. Cold steel is a little too long of a machete for me, the all-terrain chopper. Now, number 3, Zombie Tools makes pretty fun edged weapons on the larger side, and they got cuss words on their website, and that's pretty dang cool in my book. Kukris are my favorite choppers usually. Very useful for brush clearing tools and camp blades if you don't want to use your pocket knife for that. I mean, you can. No one's going to, just don't make a video about it and put it on the internet because then everybody's going to laugh at you like they do me. The $329 vac right here is their interpretation of a kukri, and this one's made out of 5160 blade steel. Now, they have slightly refined the design of this kukri. I have the original version here, and in 2020 they released the update, changed some visual things on it. Now, if you hack at stuff, often you need a kukri. That's my advice, my life advice. And this leather-wrapped handle is comfortable to use without gloves even. Sheath is about perfect, and it wraps to the leg. It's not a leather sheath, so it's not going to retain moisture. It doesn't dangle, so if you guys sit down for a beer between your chopping, you get good and drunk, you can just get out there and start swinging in the yard. That's a good idea. You can sit down with it and not hit the ground. Then you have the Deuce 2. It's close in spirit to the Aranyik Latin machete or the Yoshimi machete I reviewed. It's more of a lawn sword than a standard machete due to its thick, unbendable blade spine. Now, this one is going to run you about $485, and it's been updated to the Deuce 3. It's the second, but third. It's a little confusing for guys like me. The 2-3, the Deuce 3. They all feature the same pinned, acid-washed aluminum handle wrapped in leather, and it's comfortable as shit, as I mentioned earlier. Again and again, like the Aranyiks, I prefer a shorter chopper, let's say 10 to 18 inches, but maybe there are some folks out there who like the longer ones, and that's perfectly fine. Zombie Tools has wait times, but about the only thing I disagree with them on is them wanting to call a blood groove a fuller on some of their knives. They have a little explanation there. It's like telling everyone your favorite zombie movie is White Zombie or I Walked with a Zombie. Actually, this is the more classic interpretation of a zombie. I feel the modern flesh-eating zombie is slightly vulgar and loses the original intent. So, I guess, okay, it's really called the fuller. It's more correct, but no one wants to be around you, okay? If you just call it blood groove, no one's going to care, except for a few assholes on the internet. We know they're for reinforcement and sucking out fucking blood. The Kailash kukri, number 2. Until I got the first item on this list, which is, spoiler alert, the next one. These were my favorite. These whom's prices runs anywheres from low hundreds and up, and my Scourge cost about $250 if I remember correctly, depending on what options you put on it, which one you get. Now, on a long enough timeline, if you do kukri videos, you'll be told the best kukris are Toras. They'll tell you under the video. Now, I don't know if it's an astroturfing campaign. If it is, it's very, very clever. Or maybe it's just standard Tora fans, but they're going to show up under your videos. At least some of them are. And call any other kukri, whether or not they've held it, a tourist kukri. Now, the pejorative meaning of tourist and not the fun type that everyone loves, with their Hawaiian shirts and their cameras. Now, my impression is a tourist means it's thick. I think that's what that means, with no consideration made for balance or weight. Just thick pieces of metal for idiots. But, let's be honest, kukris are made for idiots. Like, everyone who buys a kukri for fun or enjoyment or to throw in a chest isn't an idiot already. It'd be like paying to attend Comic-Con so you could laugh at all the nerds around you. You're not the nerd, right? The rule of goats. Look it up. However, I'd like to counterpoint to these dudes. The tourists are really all the people that buy the kukris that aren't issued them by the military they serve in. Now, this is a big dumb hobby, and like all other big dumb hobbies, there's always some other asshole out there enjoying the hobby more authentically than you and will tell you so. Anyway, Kailash understands dumb shits like me have preferences in weight and spine thickness, so they have performance grind. I love my Scourge, and it has the performance grind, which means it's thin, and then when it hits that wood, oh boy, it has this like a special ring. It's like a ding. Yeah, I'm an idiot. Now, these are made in Nepal, and when they make them, they send you pictures of the whole process, like it's your child being made. But it's not a child. You don't have any children. You can't afford them because you buy kukris. And they made this blade, and it's extraordinarily nice, and it impresses the tourists. The whole little picture thing, the tourists love that. Me. Now, I have them card handled and a stacked leather handle one, and then the Scourge here, which has the, I believe, buffalo horn. Buffalo horn, the handle fitment's not perfect on it. And all three are just amazing, lightweight choppers that are easy to sharpen. Now, you can go to their website and see all the options. There's a lot of them. I like pensioners and, the Scourge. Now, I prefer these to hatchets mostly and find them more versatile, which is code for I swing my blades clumsily and I like larger edges to be able to hit my target. Now, don't get me wrong. One day I'd love a Tora, But the Tor fans are like the Buck fans. They suck all the fun out of it. They get a little bit of a semi from trolling, I assume. These kukris are about perfect, and I don't mean they look like they were made by machines, but they're handmade, they're beautiful, they're customizable, and built for use. Number 1, the Wallace Edge tool, or the Wet. I did not run that by Mike Wallace. He probably would not like his company to be called Wet. Now this here is a custom that set me back about $600. Remember, I'm an idiot. Mike Wallace, if you don't know him, has worked with Andrew Demko at Cold Steel. And Mike also designed for Cold Steel. Hopefully he's still there. I mean, I haven't talked to Mike in a year or so. So he's a nice guy and he makes a great fixed blade. That's what I know about him. Now, the truth is there are a lot of great fixed blade makers out there. Too many to keep track of, honestly. And people are always sending me pictures on Instagram of really cool makers. And that's cool, but my brain can only handle so much. However, originally I gravitated to Mike's knives, maybe by someone sharing one on the socials. You know, an influencer influenced me. But once I saw one, I had to get on his list. They're simple and they're elegant and they're made for use, and they come in a variety of sizes. This is the biggest one he makes, and it's called the Spear 2 XXL. Now, I'm sure a guy is going to show up and tell you axes are better for wood splitting because, you know, they technically are. But he's going to tell you that convex grinds don't get stuck in wood. Now, that's not entirely true. It's true, but it's not. I've had axes, my convex ground kukris, all stuck in wood like they were glued in there. Depends a lot on the type of wood, the size of wood, and trying to make a funny internet video with it. The feature of a convex grind is a little, I think, overemphasized, at least for a knife and batoning. Because we're going to be honest here, the best tool for splitting wood is a maul, a splitting axe, or a wedge and a sledgehammer. Anyway, I love it. I love its sheath, and there's a full video I did about it that goes into more depth. This one's made from Z-Wear or 3V. Some people refer to it as a tool steel or semi-stainless, kind of like D2. I know it isn't as rust-prone as any of my GEC's 1095, so you're going to get a little more leeway on if it rusts or if it spots. All right, how about some honorable mentions to the collection before we get, briefly touch on the rest? This video's been fucking long. The Hella GT. Now, Hella makes a great knife. A hella great knife. Someone kill me. And they make them in Norway. I would consider these great outdoor knives, but they're not made for shelter building. I wouldn't say they're fragile, but you gotta be gentle with them. Just use them for regular knife stuff. Your food prep, your feather sticks, a little light guitar playing in the background, a little smoke coming up from the fire, setting up a camera in a park somewhere just out of view of the road. With your pristine campsite and your wool. Have you ever slept in that campsite? Probably not, but you set it up for the camera. And you got little ambassador tags in your photos. A little bushcraft porn for the followers with your stump and your shelter. You've seen the guys with their brimmed hats in their Instagram reels. The serious outdoorsman feed. This knife is perfect for those dudes. I'm more of a family, disorganized camping car guy, or I use my big knives for yard work, and I use my pocket knives for just Amazon boxes apparently. But if you like those soft focus cups of black coffee or artisan black coffee, that's going to be under that photo too in a tag as an ambassador for. Held by some fingerless gloves, this one hits the spot, and a full review is on YouTube. How about the Tarava Scrama? I don't know if I know how to say this one right either. Now, I think maybe the reason this one didn't rank is because the handle is a tad ugly, and I have heavier choppers that I like better. It's a really nice size, and the handle is rubberized. No nonsense. This one would excel more at regular knife stuffs than say a hatchet or a kukri, but those are actually a little bit better at chopping. And this one has this little section that we're like, oh, you can do your detail work with your big ass knife, which seems just use a smaller knife. Anyway, I usually bring my other knives for the big blade stuff, and this one sits in the chest. Has a nice dangler sheath though. Next, the Survive GSO 4.7. Now I have a video on this on YouTube. There's an overview guy sometimes that shows up like he did on my Amazon knife video. He's like, warning, he didn't go into depth on these knives and how the steel performs. Sorry, it's just how the dude sounds. I don't make that up. He won't be happy at the briskness of these descriptions, but you can still go watch this full video, okay? There are full videos on most of these. Now, Survive has been plagued by production delays in the past. Some people waiting for years for knives whose deadlines keep getting pushed, like the deadline for this video did. It was supposed to be done in September, but I kept putting it off. Now they're still around. Survive is, of course, I'm still around, unfortunately, for YouTube. So maybe a person recently who received a knife, they can comment on the wait times under the video here. Now these are excellent, and I don't think this one is made anymore. Great handle, sharp, nice looking. This was a loaner. I kind of miss it. You can still go to Survive's website and sign up for their newsletter. How about the Carothers, the 10-incher? These have excellent heat treat, and social media feed for Carothers shows the guy splitting nails with it. It's not something I do. I don't really do that in my test because I'm afraid it's going to ding up the edge. I've dung up the edge on plenty of steels before. Now, this was a loaner, and I really miss it. Unfortunately, you have to go get these off blade forums during their drops. They tell you there, and you'll be lucky to score one. But they're flawless, and they're made for competitive chopping. They run about 500 on up, probably more than that now. They're made for competitive chopping, though, which is a real thing. You can look that up, too. You see him sometimes on Big Chris's custom knife feed. He shows competitive chopping, and also on the Carothers feed. Now, I wish I had the money, the time, and the patience to try to score one of their big choppers. But I've missed the window on my patience and my money when I have already a whole bunch of great knives, like the Wallace Edge tool. Now, full video is available on YouTube from me. Now, Cold Steel Wild West Bowie. Now, these evoke the Western Bowie of yore, made from carbon steel and Big S. Now, Western is the name of the company, not like, whoosh, here, partner, the Wild West. Now, it's a great knife, and the only thing I nitpick is my crossguard after some beaten rattles. Now, I know these are made for fighting on sandbars and self-defense. That's the real purpose, so I didn't use it for its intended purpose, which are felonies. It's my fault. It's my fault, right, for buying the big-ass knife and not wanting to do dumb shit with it. Fighting and self-defense are obviously the two most useful things a knife can be made for. Now, a great sheath, and it's cheaper than trying to score a vintage Western W49. Am I right, guys? Because you've done this research. Okay, the rest. Now, this has been long-winded enough, so we'll briefly show a few knives and highlight some. But you know that if I don't mention it, you know it's probably not one that I'd be mad about getting rid of or losing or, you know, someone stealing it. Now, you've seen a few of these already, but not mentioned in the video so far is the SP10 Marine Raider Craton handle, about as big as the Cold Steel Wild West Bowie and about $63. This is actually a pretty decent knife. I just have other ones that take the place of it. Maybe I should have put this in the honorable mentions, probably. Then there's the discontinued Benchmade Jungle in 1095, or is it Hungle? There's nothing really wrong with this particular knife, but Benchmade doesn't make it anymore. It cost me about, I want to say $90. 1095 carbon steel. Then the Moscas Tanto, you see the Becker BK10 here, gave that one away. The Sable Brothers Chopper, 3 knives I've done videos on. Now, in here, in this still, we see some mentioned in many other videos, but some I have never done videos on. Most noticeable, I sold the Esee PR4 and the Spyderco Puko. We gave away the buck. You remember the giveaway I did. And there's a tiny Southern Grind. Is that like the Jackal or the... I don't remember what it's called. Then there's the one with the black handle in there. It's a XXX fixed blade. I think they went out of business, though. It's a pretty good knife. Comes with a nice little sheath and fire steel, but I just never got around to it. And there's a custom in the center that was gifted by my dad, the one with the horn handle. I believe the maker was based out of Alaska. Don't know what the steel is. Probably a 440 something. Moving on. This one sees Bear Grylls Gerber bullshit. Survival Parang. Who cares? I was planning on doing a video on it, but I never found the motivation. Also, the K-Bar Parangatang kind of took that up. This is actually pretty decent. Maybe I'll do a video on it one day on bigger choppers. Then there's this one that looks like an Aranyik, but it isn't. It's I bought it from an online restaurant supply store. Its handle fitment is rougher than the Aranyiks. This one's okay. It's, same style. Wonder if they got their blanks in the same spot. And there's also another cleaver in the Hukari Tater Oi. I don't know if it's a Hukari Tater Oi or the Tater Oi Hukari, but there it is. I'll put the name on the screen for you. I believe this is Finnish made, but I don't think you can buy them anymore. I don't know. The online footprint of it is weird and not in English, so it'll be a tough one to track down. It was a channel donation. Then the Condor Golok, the review, where I pulled my t-shirt design from. That's some real interesting channel lore. And the Scrama there. Okay, we're going to do the axes, a few shots of the axes here. Council Tool Boys Axe, that's the red one. And then there's a Holtz Brooks Kailash, I don't know what the fuck it's called. I shot most of this video but never got around to making it. And there's a Nick Shabazz Zombie Knuckles thing. And we have a Gransfors hatchet. Gransfors. There is a video on that one. Just Gransfors Advanced Knife Bro. It's a forest hatchet, forest axe, I don't fucking know. Okay, machetes. I've covered a lot of these already. I like machetes. I wound up selling the tops because I wasn't in love with them, mostly comfortable, but pretty, it's too busy for the handle. I know it's a machete, but you don't always have to put your little flair on it. You could just make it a nice micarta handle. Plus, I needed the money for another knife. And there's the all-terrain chopper, that one, the big and bottom Yoshimi machete, which is more of what I would dub a lawn sword due to its thick spine and long handle. Videos been done on all these except for that generic cane machete on the right that I got one of those unsharpened machete 5-pack from, what's that, Sportsman's Guide, I believe that's what it's called. Sorry, I'm snapping my fingers, do you hear that? Then the kukris, you see the Bud K there, which is my favorite cheapo kukri, about 20 bucks when I bought it. And then there's the Himalayan imports, the ram and the wood handles. I gave my brother one. I still have one of the two. He likes kukris. He saw it my way. I did a video about all these. The Himalayan imports are what you would call the tourist kukri because they're thicker than the Kailashes. And then Cold Steel and K-Bar machetes. Those are part of a giveaway. Are we done? I think we're about done here. Now, this has been pretty long-winded, but hopefully it gives you an idea of what I like, what I think is important, and what I don't think is important. Make sure you like, because you think this channel is important, right? Subscribe, you comment. Sorry I wanted to get this done in September, but it took too long to write, and I got sidetracked, okay? Say hi to the patrons who make all of this possible. I have almost paid off my camera, and my computer's paid off, so I've upgraded getting a RAID system for my video storage and a second monitor for my iMac because my old iMac died. That's where I am. I'm continually upgrading my gear. It's not exciting upgrades, but it's upgrades. T-shirts available from a store on Teespring. Those also support me. Follow me on Instagram. Thanks for watching.